Hi kitties, welcome to another episode of Bubbles for Your Troubles. We're coming from you on location from the Elbow River. This episode is going to be based on Korean barbecue by the bow.
Yes.
Chef Roy O from Roy's Kitchen is going to be teaching us the techniques of Korean cuisine, and Andrew's going to lead us through what goes best.
Yeah, we're going to do a selection of different sparkling wines, all very different than what a lot of people are used to, with the exception of the Grand Cru Champagne. We're going to be doing a dry sparkling Riesling from the Mosel region of Germany. We've got a dry hopped pet nat, so a combination of beer hops, mosaic hops, and Chardonnay from California. Central Coast, and then we're going to do a little classic Grand Cru Champagne from Iligoretti. This is a beautiful, like long aging, long lees contact champagne, mostly of Chardonnay, and a little bit of Pinot Noir from Ambonnet. So I thought we'd try like a trio of wines with a trio of dishes from Roy's Kitchen.
Let's get ready to sweat. Chef Roy, thank you so much for having us today on this beautiful sunny day. Just give a little walkthrough of what we're going to be doing today. What are we eating?
All right, so this is my Korean barbecue setup. I'll go through all the sides first. So we have chive kimchi, Napa cabbage kimchi, soy pickles. These are sliced serranos. This is sesame oil with Montreal steak spice, crispy garlic, and samjang, which is like the Korean barbecue wrap sauce.
So that's like spice in a can here.
This one's not too spicy. It's mellowed out with a little bit of like Korean miso, garlic.
Okay,
Yeah.
All right. I'm ready to sweat, but cool.
The green peppers will make you sweat for sure.
Okay, great.
And then we have 3 proteins, which is the most traditional is the marinated short rib. This is spicy marinated pork belly. We have unmarinated A5 Wagyu and some king oyster mushrooms. And then the green onion will be a salad with our soy vinaigrette for topping after.
Oh, amazing. Okay, Andrew, what are we going to be sipping on in the interim before we start doing our pairings?
So we're gonna start with this this German sparkling wine, 100% Riesling from the Mosel, German sparkling brew. Riesling is kind of married to Korean cuisine, especially here in Calgary, because Roy is such a fan of Riesling, not just because it's fun to drink, but because there's a combination of Riesling characteristics that pair very well with this type of food. Intensity, lots of aromatics, high acid, and sometimes you can have some that have a little bit of residual sugar, which really helps with the heat. If you're not a big fan of like the spicy, you want to get the flavor, but you want to cleanse your palate afterwards. That combination of like aromatic intensity, acid, and sometimes residual sugar will help make the food pop even more.
All right, guys.
Let's
Bring on the spice.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So you mentioned 3 different types of kimchi. How important is kimchi and fermented goods in Korean cooking?
Well, kimchi is kind of like our national dish, the Napa cabbage kimchi. There's a kimchi festival that happens in the fall every year. It's very important to our culture. And Korean dining, traditionally, there's a lot of side dishes. I don't do as many as other traditional Korean restaurants, where you could have upwards of like 20 different little side dishes.
Ooh.
Yeah, and they're really fun. But I just focus on we'll make our kimchi properly the way that I want, and soy pickles are great for acid. And that's kind of like Korean dining, right? You have your rice, you have protein, some vegetables, and you have these side dishes that you can pick what you want, and it just changes all the flavors of what you're eating. So it's pretty fun.
Oh, I can't wait to try this stuff.
Okay, let's start with dish number 1.
All right, we're gonna start with the Wagyu and the mushrooms. There's a lot of fat on this.
Let's talk about this griddle here. So if I don't have one of these griddles at home, what can I use instead?
You can use your own barbecue.
Okay.
For something fatty like this and the pork belly, you would probably put some tinfoil on top.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And on a medium heat.
Okay.
Or you can do it on the stovetop, but there is definitely going to be smoke coming on.
Okay.
That, so be warned about that.
I mean, on a day like today, can we just fucking throw that beef onto the road and see if it cooks?
Yeah, it could cook on the asphalt for sure. Yeah, it'd leave a big fatty mess behind. This Wagyu looks insane.
Yeah, I mean, we would
amazing.
never treat our Wagyu like that.
No.
We love our Wagyu.
No.
And where could I buy this type of beef?
True World Foods does sell Wagyu for retail.
Okay.
Sometimes it's available at TNT.
Okay.
I don't see it often there. And occasionally I've seen it at Costco.
Ooh, and what was it? marinated in?
This is unmarinated. So a
Wow.
a lot of Korean barbecue in North America is marinated meats, but in Korea you get a lot of unmarinated cuts. A lot of the flavor will come from like your
Oh,
combination of the
sides.
sides and sauces.
Right, okay.
The kimchi and then the wrap sauce.
Okay.
And with something like with this A5, you're trying to like really showcase the meat, right? Like the
Totally.
flavor of the meat is
Absolutely.
so, you know, so fantastic that you don't really want to like doctor it up with any kind of accoutrements. You want it to just be that piece of meat.
Yeah.
And it is like obviously we can't like smell it, but it smells insane. Like you smell the richness of this.
Yeah.
So it'll be really interesting to see what of the wines we selected pairs well with something so fatty and so intense. Like it's definitely like a potent piece of beef.
Good.
So in Korea, like here in Alberta, we love our beef,
Yeah.
but what is kind of the signature protein that you would find in Korea?
It's going to be beef and
Okay.
pork. They're
Okay.
very big on unmarinated pork and marinated pork for Korean barbecue,
Okay.
and then all different types of beef.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So, and like Andrew said, like, you know, in Korea, a lot of it is unmarinated, so you get all the different qualities, like a brisket or flank or ribeye,
Mm-hmm.
so you can taste the difference in all the different cuts of beef.
Mm.
And these mushrooms are looking good.
So you didn't doctor the mushrooms in any way either. This is
No.
just king oyster sliced on
Yeah.
the grill, little oil. Like, and it smells fantastic. Like there's so much about Korean cooking in my experience that is about aromatic intensity. Like it's always so flavorful, always so strong that, you know, again, Riesling is a wonderful counterpoint to that, but we're gonna get into some wines that definitely have some aromatic intensity and like just palate intensity to try and like stand up to this wonderful food. Okay, so we're gonna start with Roy's first dish. We're gonna start with the A5 Wagyu and the king oyster mushrooms. We'll just get these guys on the grill just to warm them up a little bit, get all the good fatty business going again.
So this grill is actually a disposable grill. You can buy it from Roy's. And really what works best is kind of using it as a reheating tool.
So we got a little king oyster mushroom Wagyu back on the grill. We'll give that a couple seconds to warm up. And we're gonna go through all three of the wines that we brought to pair with. So we'll start with the Riesling, then do the Pet Nat, and then do the Champagne, kind of see how it goes together. We're gonna build a bite or two with all of the ingredients that we have here that Roy hooked us up with, all the kimchi, all the fermented goodies, all the sauces, and the serrano peppers. And we'll see what holds true. Okay, so here we go. Beef, mushroom, cheers. Mm.
Mm. There's definitely some fat on that.
Wagyu is known for its marbling content, its fat content. So delicious.
Okay, what are we trying first?
Starting with the Trossen Trocken Riesling from the Mosel, fully dry.
Oh, it definitely like washes the way the fattiness.
Punches up the flavor a lot. Actually, if you use a little bit of the kimchi in some of the sauces, it really brings out a lot of the freshness, the greenness. And that makes it like super fresh, even though it's like a very fatty cut. Your mouth feels very, very fresh. It's delicious.
See, I don't taste a lot of the flavor in this bubbly anymore. Now it just tastes like water.
I think you're right. I think the fat is actually a little too like overpowering. The first reason that we had just like casually sipping, it was like a little more intense, a little more like round. It'd be maybe a better fit for the fat, but let's get into the next one.
Okay.
Yeah, these are just gonna be a taste. We have 3 dishes and 3 wines for each course to get through. So this is the Field Recordings Dry Hop Pet Nat. This is actually a little combination of a beer, sparkling wine made with Chardonnay and Mosaic hops in California. So it should have a little more of a citrus bite. Definitely a little more pop and a little more punch. Okay, so the exact same bite for me. Kimchi, lots of green, lots of fat.
I just hit the mushroom.
Oh, wow. That has got a lot more like pear, citrus kind of.
You can taste more of the flavor on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which
Lots
one was
of
that
acid.
one?
This is the Pet Nat, dry hop Pet Nat
Okay.
from California. So Chardonnay grapes, lots of apple and citrus, almost like a little pear. Doesn't have a lot of like mouthfeel. Like it feels pretty sharp and cleansing, which is nice. You know, you got a lot of fat. It's like it's quite a nice bite. But I'm interested to try the champagne.
Yeah.
It's very nice, super refreshing. If that was to just come down to the river and I just wanted to drink a bottle of something interesting, the Pet Nat dry hop from Field Recordings would be fantastic. But we're gonna try this champagne. So Mostly Pinot Noir, a little bit of Chardonnay, 53 months on its lees. Most of this wine came from 2016 vintage and was disgorged in 2021. 1 gram per liter of residual sugar, so it's gonna be nice and dry. But what these wines are really known for is a lot of generosity on the palate in terms of richness, and still maintaining lots of that like bright minerally aspect of the Champagne region where these guys are in Ambonnay. Lots of nice color, super golden.
Drinking champagne by the bow.
It's a bit of a power move.
It's interesting, guys.
Yeah, it's a bit of a flex.
It is much of a flex. So this is going to be the true test. If our Korean barbecue goes really well with the champagne, we might be
setting a new trend here. This is
a new trend.
This is a new standard for sure.
I know, right? Oh snap, Andrew! This is the winner for me. Granted, everything goes really well with champagne. I think this was the best one. Actually, the pet nat, I think the pet nat and this one are kind of tied.
I would say the richness of this actually stands up to the fat in the Wagyu. You really do need something that's got a little more weight and a little more heft to it to kind of pull all that fat away. And honestly, like I'm still feeling the body of the champagne and not necessarily the flavor. So it's cleansed everything away, but I still feel like the richness. It feels very decadent. It kind of pairs really nicely with the fat. So I mean, the champagne is going to be my winner as well.
Okay, champagne for the win with the Wagyu beef.
So we're done with the mushrooms and the unmarinated beef. We'll move on to the grilled beef short rib. This is, I think, what a lot of people know about Korean barbecue is marinated beef. Short rib is really nice and fatty.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people do know bulgogi as well, which is usually like sirloin or ribeye sliced.
Oh, okay.
And marinated.
That's what bulgogi means, is just sliced ribeye.
Bulgogi actually means fire meat. So there's like bulgogi, if you just say bulgogi, it implies beef.
Okay.
But there's chicken bulgogi, pork bulgogi.
Okay. Okay.
So what's the like thrust of the marinade here? Because this smells absolutely delicious. It smells almost like a little sweet.
For sure. So what we use is brown sugar, maple syrup, garlic, sesame oil, soy sauce, and black pepper. Those are the base ingredients.
Okay.
For cut like short rib, we add in kiwi as a meat tenderizer.
Oh, okay.
You can also use pineapple.
Cool,
And
kiwi.
then there's some onion.
I had no idea. Like, is it like
Learning
the
again.
acid component almost?
I don't know what it is in the kiwi. It's one of the, not the acid, but there's something in there that is a natural meat tenderizer.
Wow. Okay.
And it's very powerful. So kiwi, be careful if you're using kiwi.
Oh, okay.
Or your meat could turn to mush.
I feel like that's like a legit insider tip there. First of all, using kiwi, and second, be careful with your kiwis. Sound advice.
No kiwis for you, Andrew. I like how the marinade seems very simple to make.
Very simple.
Yeah.
And like just equal parts, you can kind of, you know.
I do equal parts of the soy to maple and brown sugar, and then the rest throw in as much garlic as you want.
So how long do you like ideally like it to marinate for? Is there too short or too long?
Good question.
Ideally, you want to go about 6 hours plus. This marinates until we cook it, so like it'll marinate for days.
Yeah. Awesome. Fantastic. Again, I wish you could smell this. It smells absolutely insane. And now that I know you can only do this kind of cooking outside, like I mean, you have similar dishes inside the restaurant as well, right? Okay. But to be able to do this outside or like do it on your own deck in the summer, this is outstanding. You'll definitely become the envy of the neighborhood. It smells amazing.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Ooh. Seriously, that smells fantastic.
Yeah, that smells like
I feel like I can smell the like sugar caramelizing, and that's
in the restaurant. We do this over charcoal.
Okay.
It adds that like charcoal smokiness.
So now we're going to be doing the short rib. Andrew's decided to be a little bit of a daredevil and hit up Spice Town. I mean, go for it, buddy.
So I'm gonna do some of the serranos in here. So this might be a little bit different comparison of what works for her to me. She's just doing the fried garlic. But honestly, I think the Riesling will be really nice with a little bit of heat. All right, that's a theory. So let's test it out.
Okay, let's test it out.
Cheers.
Oh, I blew off my garlic.
Honestly, the
Holy
heat is
shit,
nice,
that's good.
but the flavor is insane.
This one's
so
insane.
Sweet, so rich. The pickled vegetables give it a little bit of.
Ooh!
You like Riesling?
The Riesling with it is actually really good because you can still taste the flavor.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Try some of the pickled vegetables with that. Like seriously, that's delicious. The acid kind of pulls away like some of the bitterness of the vinegar, and it just makes it very sweet and super pungent. It's super good.
Oh, this one's I mean, do we even need to try anything else? Do we even want to?
I think science dictates that we have to. So
Okay,
let's
fine.
get on to the second one.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're gonna get into the dry hop pet nat from Field Recordings, wine number 2 with bite number 2.
This is with the beer, right?
Yeah, dry hops, so mosaic hops thrown in at the last moment to give it a little more of a citrus bite. It's not a traditional pet nat or even a traditional wine in that sense, adding that ingredient, but I think it provides a really like interesting freshness and crispness. So let's see.
I will say the short rib is insane. The flavor.
It's dynamite. That is like, wow.
Nope, Riesling for me, but I don't know. Let's see what my trusted colleague, the expert in this affair, thinks. I think the short rib, it waters this down.
It thins out the flavor of the wine.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't feel like there's quite enough, and I'm still feeling a lot of the heat.
Yeah.
I didn't cleanse the palate as much as the Riesling did. It's definitely, I'm actually feeling a lot more heat off this one. I didn't even notice it on the first one.
Yeah, because you threw on all the heat.
Well, I know, but with the pairing, the Riesling somehow pulled away a lot of the heat. And like I'm not noticing it on the palate first round. This round, definitely noticing a little more.
So if you want to sweat, kick it up to the pet nat.
Yeah, I think the pet nat's like, it's a refreshing flavor, but it doesn't necessarily do anything to pair with the dish or pull away the heat.
No.
So
It tastes like water for me, which maybe that's what some of you want, is to just eat some short ribs, drink a Kool-Aid, and dunk into the water. That works, right?
yeah,
Okay.
I mean, absolutely. It's really just about being outside in the sun and finding something refreshing that works for you. Like it doesn't have to be bougie champagne. I mean, it's ideal if it is. You know, not every day can be a champagne day.
Should be though. Okay, now we're into the
Ilouette, Grand Cru Assemblage.
just having a classic Grand Cru while eating my short rib by the elbow. Man, life is good.
Okay, so this is the big bite. This is the big wine. Let's see how it goes.
Sharing a napkin.
Thank you.
I got you.
Seriously, every bite of this short rib though gets better and better. This might be like one of my favorite bites of food I've had all
I was
week.
gonna say this on its own, like Chef Roy for the win. We got to figure out how we can really make this at home.
Okay, so with the champagne, I think the richness really like pulls away the fat again.
I'm here
It's
for
still
it.
even a little bit of heat for me, but it's actually like the flavor of the heat, not necessarily the burn. It's really delicious. Like I'm not gonna lie, like this is a really good bite. It's decadent, but it's good.
It's like a silky train in your mouth that like chugga chooses you to be here for every last bite.
And honestly, the flavor of the short rib actually warrants that kind of wine.
Are
Like,
we
it's
just gonna be
super special.
biased that everything is better with champagne?
It's called Champagne Friday.
It's true. The
This
bread
should- yeah, this should-
is real.
This should surprise absolutely no one. Okay, we got one more bite.
We got one more. We got one more.
Oh man, that is good.
Also, do I need a pair of those fancy tongs, or can I just use a
No,
fork?
you can use any tongs really.
Okay.
Fork would be okay.
Okay,
If
okay.
you're comfortable like using a fork. But
Not like a plastic spatula that's gonna melt
No,
its way
not at
down
all.
onto the griddle. Okay, number 3. This looks amazing.
This is the
Very
spicy
stoked.
marinated pork belly. At most Korean barbecue, the most common is going to be unmarinated pork belly. You get
Okay.
like really like the pork flavor. In Jeju, Jeju Island, they're famous for their black pigs. So it's a big thing in Jeju to try the Jeju Island black pigs. It's all unmarinated, and it's delicious. And you usually season your grill with like a piece of pork fat.
Yeah.
So what's the marinade that you've got on this particular pork belly?
So this is gochujang, ginger, soy sauce, garlic, a little bit of onion, and then a little bit of brown sugar for the sweetness. And I think that's part of the reason why like Riesling goes really well with Korean food. Is there is always a bit of sweetness aspect to a lot of Korean food.
Yeah, and this is like something that's really important with Riesling for everyone to understand as well. Riesling has a lot of like intensity, and you can certainly find ones that have high residual sugar. What Riesling really is about is an intense amount of fruit. Like that's part of its aromatic intensity.
Yeah.
And it's easy for people that maybe haven't been trained to confuse sweet fruit flavors with actual sweetness and actual sugar, and that's not the case with a lot of Riesling. Like even this wine that we're having, it's a brut. It's going to have very low levels of residual sugar, but it still has that varietal, correct intensity, like honey and like kind of like petrol-y kind of notes, a little bit of yeastiness and like some breadiness from like the fermentation. But again, that tiny touch of fruit sweetness makes it feel like it's pulling away some of the heat. Also just makes the sweeter flavors in the dish pop while calming down some of the heat. So it's really fun. We didn't go strictly Riesling for this little foray into Korean because we wanted to try a range of stuff, but it wouldn't be surprising to me if the Riesling kind of comes out on top. I mean, certainly for a personal preference.
I can smell the spice on that. That's in my body for sure. It's
So
there.
I know you do a lot of dishes that have this particular like marinator sauce. So
The
like, what's your
gochujang?
favorite way to use that seasoning, that marinade?
I think this is my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're known for our fried chicken, which has the gochujang sauce. This is, has more ingredients in this marinade. But like with the pork, with the fattiness, I think the flavor combination is amazing.
Yeah, and like that's a good example of using a similar type of flavoring and marinade on different cuts. The fat component is a huge part of it. Like you're not using fatty cuts of chicken for this. It's delicious. It's super flavorful. But when you get that fat component in there as well, it takes everything to another level.
Thank you so much, Chef Roy. We cannot wait to take these down to the river, and thank you so much for sharing your methods with us.
No problem, for sure.
Yeah.
And very important to know, like you don't have to come here, cook the food, take it down with you. You guys do a proper takeaway menu. You could literally make your order, come pick it up, head down to the water, put your feet in the river, enjoy all the like insane smells, and just be the envy of the entire beach.
Yeah.
All right, cheers.
Cheers.
Chef.
Cheers. Awesome.
Last but not least, the piece de resistance.
Pièce de résistance.
Yes, thank you, partner in crime. Thank you.
We're gonna do the gochujang pork belly. I'm gonna get a little more fermented veggies in there.
Where are my chopsticks?
We're gonna do you got them in the salad here,
Oh shit.
and a little bit of the green onions.
Okay. We took the sauce that Roy created for us, and he was like, just whip it into these green onions. And now we've created this amazing little,
Little salad on top of our pork belly with these lettuce wraps. I'm throwing a serrano chili in there again. I actually like really love this heat.
okay, I'm gonna do it too.
Sometimes the heat isn't even the problem. Like the flavor is so much better than the heat that you just kind of like embrace it and you go for it. So I'm gonna pour us a little bit of the Riesling, and we'll start with that again. Just
I'm gonna
to
do it
keep
too.
consistent. Oh, cheers.
Cheers.
There we go.
Cheers, cheers. Okay. Okay, first bite. Oh,
These little grills, they work really good.
not spicy hot, actually hot.
It's actually
from the grill.
temperature hot. Like that's. I can't believe this is like a disposable grill. You literally just throw this thing away when you're done. It actually works fantastic.
Ooh, Riesling.
Mm-hmm.
Riesling.
So the heat and the spice in the gochujang, it pulls out all of the fruit of the Riesling, and you don't really notice the heat as much, and you don't necessarily notice any residual sweetness from the Riesling. You get lots of like aromatic intensity. It's really beautiful. Wine number 2, we're going to do the Pet Nat again, Chardonnay, dry hopped with Mosaic hops. Let's see how it goes with this spicy pork belly.
So, inhale first. Tell me your thoughts.
You know what? The wine doesn't have a lot of effect on the flavor in your mouth.
It actually kind of tastes like,
It tastes like apple juice. Like it honestly makes the wine taste like very boring, like a little uninteresting. It doesn't do anything to enhance the dish. And it doesn't necessarily pull away the heat, and it doesn't necessarily like pull away the fat. It's almost like it's a little overwhelmed by the actual dish.
you might as well drink apple juice. Well, it probably
And it's not bad, but it doesn't do anything as a pairing.
No.
Champagne. Here we come.
Champagne.
All right, so round 3, we're gonna try the champagne. See how it goes with these last bites of pork belly.
It's clearly gonna go really well, Andrew. Are you doubting like the grand queen of bubbly?
I never doubt her. She's always served me well.
I know, right?
Okay, so once again, the richness and intensity of fruit of the champagne totally stands up to all the fat, all the heat, all the greenness from this. Like, it actually works really, really, really well.
Shit, you guys.
So I mean, between all 3 dishes and all 3 wines, it's like the one that's come out the most on top would be the champagne. The champagne comes out on top every single time, I think, because of the intensity of both the aromas, the flavor, the weight of the actual wine. It stands up to everything, and it adds credence to the, the sommelier credo that champagne pairs with everything.
I was just gonna say, so like, you're paying a little bit of a higher price for champagne, and this is the reason.
Insane versatility.
Yeah.
High acid, lots of texture, just beautiful.
But also, we never talked about the price on the champagne. Like, if you were to buy it from a store, how much is it gonna cost someone?
I think this retails for about $100.
Okay.
The pet nat comes in at about 30, the Trocken comes in at about 35. So the Riesling would be a good go-to overall.
Okay.
If you're on a budget. The pet nat is great when you're just on the river and you just want something super refreshing, delicious, lots of flavor. It'd be fantastic. But as far as an actual like pairing of these foods and wine, like the champagne has come out on top again.
And Roy also has really great champagne. If you're like dining in, take the champagne to the restaurant, but maybe don't take it to the beach.
I would say though that if there's one takeaway from all of this, when in doubt, champagne.
Champagne.
Cheers. Okay, so we tried 3 wines, we tried 3 dishes, Korean barbecue. Roy, fantastic job.
Bless
The
your
food
heart.
is insane. Like, it's so delicious. If you
Yeah.
haven't been to Roy's Kitchen, if you used to love Anju, get your ass down to Roy's Kitchen, get in there, try the food. It's outstanding. I would have to say, overall, the one wine to rule them all would be the champagne. That's not a surprise to us here because we love champagne. However, I would say if you're getting in the raft, you're hitting the river, you're hitting the beach, the Riesling would be outstanding as a little bit of a value proposition. If you want to do something a little more bougie, hit the champagne, but the Riesling was fantastic with everything, but just champagne just came out on top.
It did. Thank you for joining us. Just another day at the office with Bubbles for Your Troubles, brought to you by Champagne Friday.
Cheers.
Cheers.